Today we're gonna throw a cylinder on the pottery wheel. I just want to walk you through the process. This is a wooden bat, it's called. I made it myself. I just traced the wheel head and then cut out these holes where the pins are. So it just sits right into the pins there. And the purpose of using a bat is so when you have your piece thrown, you could just lift the bat up. So, to get started, I have my water, my sponge, my wooden tool. To get started, we take our ball of clay and we just want to pat it into a ball. Okay, once we have it into a ball, we want to wet our wheel head with a damp sponge. Okay, now we want to squeeze it out and then wipe it again. That'll take away the excess water on the surface, and you can see that leaves us with a damp bat. And the dampness helps keep the clay attached. So, now we're going to throw the ball of clay onto the wheel. You want to try to get it as close to the center as possible. Okay, so I recommend to beginners that they kind of push down around the edges, and with the wheel spinning you just want to pat it. You can see that kind of gets it into a cone shape. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to apply some water with the wheel spinning. Now I am a left-handed person, so my wheel is spinning clockwise. If you are a right-hand person, your wheel will spin counterclockwise. So you're going to do the same movements I'm doing, just with the opposite hands. So I'm starting at a medium speed here. I'm applying water, pushing down on the top, and bracing the clay with my other hand. You want to keep your elbows locked in, because if you don't, then your arms will go all over, and so will the clay. Alright, so we want to cone the clay up, so we're going to use the sides of our hands. We're going to push in and up into a cone shape. Let off the pressure as you come up. And then we're going to push down on the top, down and off to the side, and brace it with our other hand. So you can see here, keep your elbow locked into your leg, and that pushes the clay not only down into the wheel, but it also makes sure it's centered. Now this is pretty much centered. I'm just going to refine it a little bit more. I want to get it into like a hockey puck shape. And you never want to take your hands right off. You want to always come off slowly. Alright, so now that our clay is centered, we're going to open it. You want to keep your wheel going at about the same speed. And I see a lot of beginners just kind of put their index finger right in the center and just kind of dig in. You really don't want to do that, because if you open it off center, then your whole pot is going to be off center. So the tip I use is I kind of slide my index finger from the outside into the center and applying pressure as I do that. And then I have that center established. I'm going to use water. This requires quite a bit of water. And I'm just going to push in. When the clay gets dry, you want to add more water. Okay. You don't want to go too far down, because you can go all the way down to the wheel head. which is fine for a planter, but if you're making a mug or something like that, you kind of need a base there. So the tip I find useful to find your thickness is you stick your needle tool in until it hits the bottom of the wheel head. You take your finger and slide down until it hits the clay and lift the needle tool out with your finger in that spot. And you can see this is how much thickness I have. You want about 1/4 of an inch. So you have to go down a little bit more. Okay. So now you can see that my pot is open. And I have a little bit of a funky rim there, so I'm just going to push that down, compress it into the clay. Okay. So if you are a beginner, you want to just keep checking your thickness, make sure you're not going too little or too much. So now to establish a wall, I'm going to gently push in with my outside hand and then push into my outside hand with my fingers on the inside. And you can see I'm also pushing from the bottom of my outside hand, and that kind of brings up a wall. Now if you've got a really thin rim up here, you just want to compress it into the clay. That'll fix that. Okay, just kind of pressing into the bottom, establishing that wall. So now is the point when you want to slow down your wheel. I rarely ever put my wheel up to top speed, regardless if I'm centering or opening, because I find that it's just easier to do it medium speed. That's all based on personal preference, so you can do it however you want to do it. Okay, so I have my wall established. I'm going to apply water. Now the next step is pulling. This is where you slow your wheel down a little bit. And I like to keep it at the same speed from here on out, because it just gives an even pull. So I'm going to take my middle finger on the inside, and I'm going to take my middle finger on the outside, and you want to press them together. So you're going to be coming up the wall, and you're pressing them together as you pull up. So really the wall of the clay is in between your fingers and the sponge. You don't want to press too hard. You want to give nice gentle pressure and an even pull all the way up. So here's pull number 1. Release pressure as you reach the top. And I'm just going to do a couple more pulls here in fast motion to kind of speed up the video a bit. This next step here is called trimming. I'm taking the pointed end of my wooden knife and I'm kind of just trimming away some of that thickness to make the actual trimming process easier. So here is the finished product. It is a medium-sized tumbler with a little bit of a belly and a flared out rim. Thank you all for watching today's video, and remember, if you have any questions or recommendations for me to try something, please feel free to send me an email at backyardpotteryhaven@gmail.com. Thanks again, and happy creating!